Well, hi again, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Matt Report, brought to you by the Cobos Insurance Center and Century 21 Deanna Realty. Tim Alcorn with AM 930 WEOL. Shaun Bennett from the Chronicle Telegram. Great to talk high school wrestling each and every week with you, and of course, a very happy new year to all of you. And Shaun Bennett, for some of the wrestlers in our area and for some of the teams in our area, indeed, the new year rung in on a very positive note.
Yeah, big tournaments. Like I said, between Christmas and New Year's, we have some big holiday tournaments. We have teams traveling out of state. We have an in-county nice holiday duel tournament that goes on. So a lot of action on the mats last week.
Well, as always, we tend to start with the Elyria High Pioneers. They were at the Brecksville tournament. Obviously, one of the favorites as far as the big teams that are there. 51 teams. But I don't even know if they were anticipating a number 3 finish.
Yeah, they were. I expected number 3 finish because there were 3 nationally ranked teams, and Elyria was one of them. Elyria, Brecksville, and the team that won it was Detroit Central Catholic. They're ranked top 10 right now, so they went in there and did a really good job in winning that title. But Elyria and Brecksville were at each other, back and forth. I think the lead changed places several times between second and third, and ended up Brecksville holding Elyria off by half a point for second place. So definitely a tight team race there. Fantastic finish. Came, I think, right down to the last couple matches. So exciting.
Shaun, I know one of the phrases that you've used over the years as we've talked wrestling, steel strengthens steel. And this rugged competition that Elyria goes up against week in and week out throughout the season, I mean, it just gets them better and better and better.
Yeah, and, they're coming off, back-to-back-to-back monster events, obviously starting with the Ironman, then they go to the Beast of the East out in Delaware, and then the Brecksville Holiday Tournament. It's just like juggernaut competition over and over and over again. They do that simply so that the guys get tested early. Then they'll use this next few weeks to kind of just, work on things. Then they have a big event in Maumee Bay out in Oregon Clay, out west by the Toledo area. They'll have the regional round, and then potentially the state dual team tournament, and then, conference tournament, and boom, right into sectional. So that's a good way to do it. You basically go out there, you show what your flaws are, you spend a few weeks working on them, and then you start stretching making that stretch run, trying to peak at the right time.
So again, congratulations to Elyria. Phenomenal performance and showing at that Brecksville tournament. Well, let's talk about our top 3 wrestlers. I know we do this each and every week during the Matt Report. We'll start off with a young man from Avon. I know he was featured a couple of weeks ago on the Matt Report, but great showing for Jordan Greer.
Jordan Greer at that tournament, the Brecksville Holiday Tournament from Avon. Surprisingly, with Elyria having 8 placers and finishing with that 13 finish, it was Jordan Greer who was our only local champion at the event. But just an unbelievable job. He goes 5-0 there with 2 pins and a major decision to win the 195-pound title. The major decision was over a state placer in Griffin Rathbard of Columbus Bishop Hartley. So he basically dominated him. For major decision, as for those who might not know, means he won by 8 points or more, somewhere between 8 and 15 points, 8 and 14 points. So that was impressive. Then he won 6-2 over Michigan State champion Easton Turner from Detroit Central Catholic, that team that's ranked top 10 in the country, in the semifinals. And then finally wrapped it up with a 5-2 win over 2-time state qualifier Ethan Hatcher of Brecksville.
Wow. Has he surpassed expectations?
Oh, unbelievably. Just these events, he beat Bay's Matthew Cover, who's the projected state champion in Division II at the Cobos Insurance Classic to open the season. He is just unbelievable right now. He started probably right on the cusp of the teens, 14, 15 in the state coming into the season, and now some rankings have him up in the top 3 or 4 in the state right now with what he's done so far.
Well, a young man who certainly had high expectations coming into the year, Peyton Bergdorf over at Firelands, and he has not disappointed. Another big week for Peyton.
Yeah, and he was over at the other big holiday tournament, the Medina Invitational Tournament, which happened slightly before the Brecksville tournament. And Bergdorf was one of 2 local champions there, and he, again, had another dominant performance. He won the event. He's a 2-time champion now because he won the event last year at 106 pounds. But during the story, Brad Bourneval covered it for us, said he didn't really have much competition last year and win that 106-pound title. This year, lots of competition. He goes 5-0 with 3 pins to win the 120-pound title. He went 4-2 in the semifinals against Genoa area senior Oscar Sanchez, who's a 2-time state finalist and won a state championship in 2017. So knocking off a state championship along the way to a title is nothing to sneeze at. Then in the he beat Stephen Garty, who's from Davison, Michigan, another powerhouse program from Michigan, who's a two-time state placer in the Michigan State tournament. Pinned him in 119 in the final.
Wow.
Pinned him in the first period. A two-time state placer from Michigan. So.
Phenomenal job, Peyton Bergdorf. Our third wrestler, as far as the top three this week, a very young wrestler, a ninth grader, a freshman from Columbia High School, Josh Hickman.
And a lot of people here might not know Josh, and I really didn't know him as well because he started out the year, was a week into the season, had an elbow injury and was out for 3 weeks, and came back this week at the Vermilion Super Duels. So I really don't know a lot about Josh, but this I do know. He goes into the Vermilion Super Duels and goes 9-0 at 106 pounds with 8 pins. And I believe
super impressive.
Yeah, super impressive at the Super Duels. I believe Coach Tullis even said that he jumped up to 113 on a couple matches because he knew teams that he was facing didn't have a 106 pounder, and he didn't want to take that forfeit. So he wanted to go up and get on the mat and actually wrestle matches. So 9-0, 8 pins, ends up earning the MVP award for the lighter weights at the event. So great job for that young man.
Congratulations. Yes, freshman Josh Hickman from Columbia. All right, each and every week during the Matt Report, we like to bring you My Favorite Move, brought to you by Century 21, Deanna Family Realty, where Shaun goes out and actually gets on the mat, or at least puts his camera on the mat with a local wrestler who will demonstrate their favorite move. So, again, thanks to Century 21, Deanna Family Realty for sponsoring. And who are we going to watch?
Today it's going to be Lorain senior Daniel Bubba Findley.
Bubba.
We went out to Lorain on New Year's Day to film this segment. It was a great, those Lorain kids in there doing work on the holiday. Bubba's going to show us what he calls a sit down, like kind of go through, like it's almost like a double, or it's kind of a turnaround, go behind takedown. It's really slick. I mean, it is definitely something cool. He says he's been using it all year, and I think he's got like an ungodly amount of takedowns, like triple digits already this year. So he's been doing it. He said he's been dominating with it, and it's one of his favorite moves.
All right, so let's watch Bubba Findley demonstrate that move. I think he might be able to demonstrate it a little bit better than Shaun was able to describe it.
I'm trying to remember, and it's just like, oh, wow, it's fast, it's quick, it's awesome.
So again, here's Bubba Findley from Lorain High with My Favorite Move, brought to you by Century 21, Deanna Family Realty.
I'm Daniel Findley from Lorain High School. My favorite move is a sit-through duck running. Basically what I'm doing is I'm pushing into my opponent, get him to push back in. I pop this elbow and I sit out and I put the corner back into him.
So there you see it. Definitely a nice move. He puts his butt right on the mat, pops back up, gets behind the guy for the quick 2 points. Really slick.
I told you folks it would be a lot easier to watch it than listen to Shaun describe it. But very well done. All right, each and every week here on the Matt Report, we also turn the spotlight on a local coach. And the coach we're going to talk about this week is Brandon Gilbert over at Vermilion High School. I had a chance to talk to him at the Brew Kettle for our preview a couple of months ago now, but boy, an outstanding coach.
Yeah, great guy, family guy, as one of the things we'll mention here. Did a couple interviews with him earlier this year. We did a story on Jacob Kolzar, and he's got his kids, girls, basically doing things with them while he's talking to me. He definitely is a multitasker. So Brandon Gilbert from Vermilion. So we're just going to go through some of the things he kind of put down on his sheet. One of his, what he considers his top high school moment was he helped his team, which was Cincinnati Moeller, to the state Division I state runner-up trophy in 2000 and 2001. So top two finishes there for him.
Back-to-back years.
Back-to-back years. Top coaching accomplishment in his third year in coaching in Virginia. He was able to send all 4 seniors on his team to the state tournament. His coaching influence, Jeff Geyer, no surprise from Cincinnati Moeller and his staff at Moeller. One of his favorite moves to teach young wrestlers is the hooks. Favorite college program? It seems like everybody's favorite answer.
Have we had anybody go other than Ohio State?
Well, not yet, I don't think,
okay.
But we'll eventually probably get there. But Ohio State, yes, favorite college program. His favorite high school tournament, Mommy Bay. We mentioned that earlier at Oregon Clay. It's a great tournament. I've been out there a few times. It's very good. In his free time, of course, as I mentioned before, he's a dad of 3 beautiful little girls. They're all about, knee to waist high, somewhere along those, and very active from what I remember when talking to him during interviews. And a fun fact about Brandon, he loves pitching horseshoes and he dabbles in woodworking.
You a good horseshoe guy?
No.
I'm not either.
No.
I've tried it a couple of times. Man, that thing goes sailing off.
I'm good at making people run when I'm throwing horseshoes.
Exactly. So, hey, Brandon, if you're a good horseshoe pitcher, then hats off to you. All right, as we close things out on this week's edition of the Matt Report, Shaun always comes up with some fun trivia. This is good stuff. I know all the local historians, as far as wrestling are concerned, really enjoy it. So, first, let's circle back last week's trivia.
Yeah, we talked about programs that were no more in Lorain County and mentioned all the state placers, and the Elyria West had 1 state placer in its history, and we asked who was that. That wrestler was Shaun Shoemaker, placed 5th in 1988 at the state tournament.
Well, you think of all the great athletes over at Elyria West, and there were a slew of them. That's hard to believe there was only 1.
Yeah, there was a lot of guys, I think, right on the cusp. I remember, especially when Shaun wrestled, that was a great era because, there was a lot of, Tyrone Nelson was a great heavyweight there, Rick Cassidy, just a lot of guys who did some, nice things while the wrestling program was going on. But it takes more than just the skill. You got to be peaking the right time. You got to have a little bit of luck sometimes with the draws. It takes other things. So just some unlucky for a lot of guys at Elyria West that we were able to get 1. And I say we because, of course, I graduated from Elyria West. That only 1 guy ever got through. So.
All right, now before we get to this week's trivia question, you always have a few tidbits to pass along. You've got some good ones this week.
Yeah, I kind of got on the OHSA website and kind of perused through their record books and stuff like that. So we'll start with, well, first of all, a lot of people know this name because he actually trained right here in Lorain County with Bennett Train Wrestling, All-American Logan Stieber. He's a 4-time state champion in high school and a 4-time NCAA champion at Ohio State, went to Monroeville. Wow. He holds the state record with 179 consecutive wins in Ohio between 2006 and 2010. Also on that list, on the OHSA list, is Scott Burnett from Elyria Catholic is the top in Lorain County. He had 112 straight wins between 1995 and 98. And the other Lorain County wrestler, his brother, Eric Burnett from Oberlin, had 104 straight wins between 1985 and 1987.
But I believe it was last week you mentioned they wrestle more matches now.
Yeah, they have more, but at the same time, winning that many in a row, I mean,
it's still incredible.
It's insane, is what it is. Next one up is most pins in a season. The record is 49 by West Jefferson's Josh Doherty in 2015-16 season. The only other Lorain County wrestler on the OHSA list is Wellington's Jay Mariest with 40 pins in 2001-02, and 40 pins is right where they start that list. So, it's like to see some other wrestlers from our area get out, knock out 40 pins.
That's a name from the past, but I remember James Mariest. He was terrific. All right, one more.
All right, another trivia tidbit. Sandusky St. Mary Central Catholics, Tanner Shearer, holds the state record for takedowns in her career with 1,120 between 2001 and 2004. The only other Lorain County wrestler on the OHSA list, again, Elyria Catholic, Scott Burnett. He had 741 takedowns during 1994 to 1998 during his career.
How did you get over 1,100 takedowns?
That's a lot, I heard the other day, we were looking, somebody said about in one tournament, they said they had something like 45, 49, something like that, takedowns in one tournament. I was like, wow, that seems like a lot. You're basically getting 7, 8, 9 takedowns in it. I think they had 5 technical falls in the tournament, but that is a lot of takedowns because, you get the 2 points, and you can only get a finite amount of points before they stop the match and you get that technical fall. So if your opponent's not doing anything, you're only getting 5, 6 takedowns in a tournament or in a match before it's finally called off. They finally wave the white flag. So
it's the mercy rule, per se. All right, so to close things out, this week's trivia question.
Yeah, so I was kind of, again, perusing that OHSA thing, and I found something interesting. So our question this week is kind of a miscellaneous tidbit from there, and I don't want to kind of give away where to find the answer. Just try to guess on your own, please. But it is, what Lorain County school defeated 3 teams by 80 or more points in one season? And remember, the most you can score in a match is 84 points. So a team beat 3 teams in dual meets in 1 year by 80 points or more. And the hint, it's happened within the last decade.
All right, there you go. Not that you can look anywhere to get the answer. Shaun wants it coming right from the brain itself. So that's going to do it for this week's edition of the Matt Report. Many people to thank. Of course, Bruce Bishop handling the audio and the video. So Bruce, thanks to you. Shaun, thanks to you. Again, huge thank you goes out to our sponsors, that being the Cobos Insurance Center and Century 21 Deanna Family Realty. Biggest thanks goes to you, those who are watching. So until we talk again next week on the Matt Report, for Shaun Bennett, Tim Alcorn, so long, everybody.